I'm Tiffany Alexander. I have a master's in education and I'm a licensed professional therapist. I've been in practice for a little over 10 years. Talk a little bit about alcoholism. Alcohol is the most commonly abused drug. A lot of people say it's inherited, but that's not always the truth. It's a higher likelihood of being an alcoholic. You come into the world with certain characteristics, and we all have those. A higher likelihood of having heart disease or higher likelihood of other things. Genetic predispositions is what they call it. In that case, you can develop from a social drinker to true alcoholism at a fairly rapid rate. Some people have even said that even after their first drinking experience, first or second, they really knew that they were going to have a problem with this substance. Other people abuse the substance for long enough that the body actually makes a transition, and the body prefers homeostasis, so just like the thermostat in your house. It heats, it cools, it tries to keep the that main maintenance level. Our body is the same way. So if you put something in long enough, the body changes to make that the new homeostasis. So what happens is you take the alcohol out of the body, and the body is actually out of your normal balance because it's used to processing with the alcohol. A lot of people don't know it, but sweet cravings are a sign of a body's dependence on alcohol. So if you don't like sweets otherwise, but if you go a couple of weeks without drinking anything and you have the sweet cravings, that's one of the telltale signs. Also hot flashes and things like that if you've went without alcohol for a while. That's some of the early signs, way before the DTs and the hand tremors and things like that. That's most people associate those with symptoms of alcoholism, but actually those are very late, severe symptoms. There's some other biological things that you see way before that. Typically, people start looking at their life when they start having some kind of problem. And it doesn't have to be a hitting bottom like some call. Just when you realize that the first problem you usually see is when I start drinking, am I able to stop? Alcoholism isn't defined by how much you drink or how often you drink. It's defined by when I start drinking, am I able to control my intake and stop at a reasonable level so I'm still in control of myself. I'm well enough to drive home or those types of things. So, but the basicest definition is when I start, am I able to stop when I want to? Do I say I'm going to only have 2 drinks and I stop after 2? Or do I say I'm only going to have 2 drinks and then I stop after 5? Or I say I'm only going to have 2 and I wake up the next morning and don't really remember how the evening ended. So if I start and I'm not able to control when I stop, that's usually the most basic definition of alcoholism. So we have that paired with some consequences where friends are coming to you and telling you what you did and don't quite remember that. Or once you've started drinking, you get unsure of what might happen later. There's some embarrassment that goes on. Of course, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people who have drank alcohol have done something embarrassing at some point in time, right? Did a little silly. But these are consequences where you really wouldn't have done these things had you been sober, and you really prefer them not happen again. And then you drink again, and then you drink too much again. You start seeing a repeat performance. If people come and talk to you, if your loved ones say, hey, what do you, or are asking you questions about your alcohol intake, that's usually a good sign. When you're having a consequence happen more than one time, that's usually a good sign that it's time to maybe talk to a professional who could kind of steer you in the right direction. Alcoholism isn't something you cure. It's something you treat. We think of it a lot like cancer. If you treat it, hopefully it goes into remission. And there are certain things you can do, even if you have cancer, to keep it in remission by taking good care of yourself. But there's also always the chance of reoccurrences. If you're in counseling and you're getting regular help with yourself, you're taking care of yourself physically, socially, you're around good people, you have support, you're less likely to have a recurrence. But you also have the people in place to help you if you do have a recurrence, get back on track as quickly as possible.